Hello everyone, I'm Alex and I'm going to be giving a presentation about the Brumadinho Dam failure of 2019. Sorry, it's Brumadinho. This was the largest dam failure of all time in Brazil, and here's a picture of the area before it happened on the right. I hope you guys can see my cursor. I'll get into the details of the picture later, but first, a little bit of background. So this happened on the east side of Brazil, and on the left you can see a picture of the whole of South America, and on the right here's a picture of this zoomed in part. The circle is the city of Brumadinho, which is where the dam failure happened. Taking a closer look, here's the dam. A Brazilian mining company, Vale, owned and operated a large mine in this area, which was mining for iron. And to the left is a neighborhood called Parque da Cachoeira, I hope I pronounced that correctly, which was and is still now a beautiful oasis which is full of life, nature, and native plants. Here are a few pictures of some passiflora species, sometimes known as passion flowers, which grow naturally in the park. The park is also known for its estuaries, its waterfalls, and rivers, which house species of fish such as snook and catfish. So it's a pretty diverse place, and it's really full of life. In terms of people, Brumadinho has around 40,000 residents, so it's quite a bit of people. And as I'll tell you guys later, the dam disaster did not affect all 40,000 of these people, but it still did more harm in many other ways. All right, so now on to the specifics. I told you guys about this mining company, but I never explained what they use that dam for. So when companies like this mine iron, they first have to break out the chunks of ore that contain the iron, like in Minecraft. That's why I have this GIF over here. It's GIF. And then they crush the ore with huge machines. And then finally they have to separate the iron from waste and other rocks surrounding it. And this is where something called tailings are created. So what are tailings? Tailings are waste created from this separation process. They contain trace amounts of toxic metals like copper, mercury, zinc, cadmium, and lead, which are left over from the rock. They also contain a lot of additives that are used during the processing step, like sulfuric acid, cyanide, and petroleum byproducts. And so we've learned in class that these can be really harmful to the environment already, and so specifically mercury and lead can disrupt many organs and many systems in the species that live in the Cachoeira ecosystem, including us humans. And so there are many ways that companies can store and process tailings, and Vale decided to house them in a giant dam right next to the mine because, of course, that's the cheapest way. And they mixed all the waste together in water, and if you look at this pipe, they just kind of dump it out during working hours. This wasn't at the dam actually, but it's just a picture. And the bottom of this kind of looks like tofu, but it's like toxic. And so you're probably realizing like, wow, this sounds like a recipe for disaster, right? You have extremely toxic waste right next to so much wildlife and also uphill from a clearing full of residents right here. And you'd be right. The Vale company decided that it was too expensive to build a proper dam, so they constructed the dam walls with the same tailings, but dried up tailings that it was supposed to hold. So it's upstream, so it would be this picture that you should be looking at. And this thing was literally just like a blob of toxic mud, which was sitting there. And if water were to seep into the walls and saturate them, so these walls right here, something called liquefaction can occur. This is a picture of the effects of liquefaction. I think this is it's in Japan. Yeah, it's in Japan, in Tohoku, after a tsunami. So that was, I think it was 2011. It's when the tsunami happened. And so you can see that the mud right here is really soft, and in extreme cases, it can even start acting like water. So that's exactly what happened to the dam and its walls. The dam broke at noon on January 25th, 2019, which sent about 5,000 Olympic swimming pools of mud cascading downhill. The mud destroyed everything in its path, killing many employees from Vale and decimating dozens of buildings in the Parque da Cachoeira neighborhood. Here's a picture of the dam before and after. You can see like this blood or red mud covering everything next to the dam on the after picture. Like it's kind of crazy. The red is actually from the color of iron. So yeah. Oops, did I skip something? Oh no, okay, I didn't. So yeah, so the mud then flowed into nearby Paraopeba River, which is this river right here, and it spread toxic waste to other communities and also killed a lot of wildlife in the process. It was reported that fish could be seen floating on the surface of the mud with their mouths open, and mosquitoes also entirely disappeared from the area. Here's another picture of the mud. I thought this slide was first, but yeah, here's another picture of the mud. Okay, so damage report. As I said, tailings are super toxic and can remain in the environment for a long time. As we discussed in chapter 10, chapter 3, I don't know why I said 10. These chemicals can bioaccumulate in the food chain, which could possibly prevent hundreds of species from surviving and reproducing. Their effects are also long-lasting, right, because they're persistent. And in terms of people, around 300 died from the initial cascade, with countless more lives being affected by increased river toxicity. Farms and agricultural areas were also totally destroyed. And the sad thing is, the financial loss of the people in this area was not calculated at all. So the company only cared about their own profits. They lost about 19 billion in stocks after the collapse, and rightfully so, actually. The entire city of Brumadinho was brought to its knees because of the company. A lot of the residents, many of whom worked for the company, actually were outraged. Effects to the environment were also not considered. Everyone was kind of busy worrying about their loved ones, and of course the company wasn't concerned at all. There was a lot of settlement and repayment, but nothing was really done for the environment. All right, so what we learned absolutely nothing. Dams like these continue to be built everywhere, and the reason why this dam broke the way it did was because of a lack of maintenance. These dams are seen as waste and not seen as a product like in other dams that store water and provide water to residents. So there's a lot less motivation to make sure that these dams are safe. And Vale owns 90 more dams like this and are still building them and are still not maintaining them properly to this day. Some of them are rated even more unsafe than this one. And the reason why nothing is changing and the reason why no laws are being passed is actually because of the Brazilian government. You guys probably heard that the government is extremely corrupt over there. There are a lot of bribes and large companies like Vale have lots of influence in the lawmaking process. So they kind of stop things from happening. So yeah, it's really sad, but this will probably happen again, and in areas with probably an even higher population. I don't know why I didn't include this, but I found a picture of other dams in Brazil that are next to large populations. But if you guys are curious, you can look that up by yourselves. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for listening. Here are the sources I used. I think the dam picture is actually in the New York Times interactive page. So if you guys take a look at that, then you'll see everything that I'm talking about. So yeah, thank you so much.